It is a very quiet Monday afternoon, and I'm on one of my little strolls. But we're not doing this video outside. We're doing it sat down at my house, at the comfort of my home. Because I've had the long ass day at work and I've got to stay outside to explain this stuff to you. I don't actually know why I said that like that. But yeah, I'm gonna just do the video at home. But I thought I'd introduce it outside, where you know it's light and yeah. And see you at home, I guess. Also, boom, nighttime. Sorry. Before I get into the actual video of me at home and doing what I gotta do. This is how long I've been walking for, by the way. But anyway, I don't know whether to make these vlogs daily or bi-daily, if that's a word, or weekly. I don't know. I do have life and work beside this, so I don't know if I'm giving myself more work and I'm just going to get burnt out before I even start. But I just thought I'd put this in here just in case. I'm also remind myself as well. But anyway, back to the video. This is the case with the cat shush. So you might be sat there wondering, what is your beef with Google Maps? There's a bigger picture to all this, and it goes deeper than just Google Maps. There's a bigger picture to this. It's not that deep, I'll be very real, like it's not that deep. It's the most nonsensical thing to disagree with, but shut your mouth because I'm going to speak about it. There's three main components to this argument. There's the use it or lose it cognitive science argument, erosion of environmental coherence, and the general over-reliability of technology within society. The first argument is more concerned with allocentric and egocentric navigation. There's a lot of studies to support this theory. And allocentric is essentially the bigger picture. So allocentric navigation is you're considering everything, and egocentric navigation is considering the isolated incident that you're in. The issue with egocentric navigation is that it requires less mental effort, which means that over time you're relying on something in the moment, in the instant, without having to think about the bigger picture. That doesn't grow your hippocampus, which actually, seen in taxi drivers, is enlarged because of the amount of information that they have to think about within a bigger picture. If you look at an Uber driver's hippocampus compared to a taxi driver's hippocampus, the taxi driver's hippocampus and how they think about things in that allocentric view is much bigger, because they have to think about things not only in terms of where they're going, how they're going, the disruption, and time. An Uber driver will only ever have to follow Google Maps and the navigation. Overuse of GPS can sometimes cause this part of your brain to become inactive because you're, again, relying on something that is only in the moment. If I were to tell you right now, get from Piccadilly Circus to Tower Bridge, just by walking using the allocentric view, you'd have to use bearings, you'd have to use landmarks, you'd have to use location, you'd have to use so many different things to get a bigger picture view of where you're going, which in turn activates your hippocampus and activates that problem-solving area of your mind. If you just then take out your Google Maps and type in Piccadilly Circus to Tower Bridge, you're not really activating anything. You're allowing the egocentric, the self-centered, the turn-by-turn navigation, the not thinking about the bigger picture and analysing where you are and analysing your space. The next point sort of relates to the first point in terms of environmental coherence. A lot of people don't really know where they're going or what they're doing by using Google Maps. You can make the same journey over and over and over again and still have to rely on Google Maps because you haven't learnt it. You've only ever let Google Maps do it for you. Google Maps is a piece of technology. It can get things wrong at times and it can actually give you routes that are wrong. I want to show you this example here in Clapham Junction where it actually tells you to go into a train station, touch in and touch out, spending money to go through an alleyway. Google Maps gets things wrong, and if you rely on it too much, you're going to make those same mistakes that Google Maps make. Instead of actually learning the area for yourself and being environmentally aware. With environmental coherence and awareness, You need to be able to describe the journey's context. You need to be able to describe landmarks. You need to be able to describe how you got there, bearings, and the general direction of where you're going. And I think if you can't say what neighborhoods you walk through or a road you walked through and you're just following Google Maps, it deactivates your coherence of where you are. There are people who have lived in London for 5, 10 years who still can't get from Bow to Hammersmith without Google Maps. I think also away from the 3 points, just general map coherency is very poor in the UK, and I think around the world now. We rely so much on our phones that maps on the streets and maps that are given to us in terms of cartographers have made, we just neglect and we just use our phones and we lead the way with our phones. There's a deeper meaning to this. It's not just I don't like people just following their phones, it's the over-reliance of technology and the fact that there are so many different learning opportunities and ways to expand your mind, but we stay benevolent to a system that doesn't help us grow and doesn't help us achieve any form of intelligence or knowledge. This then goes on to my next point, and it's sort of a general point about technology and GPS being a part of technology. I want to make this point. Technology is very fragile. It's finite. Tomorrow someone could switch it off. Tomorrow someone could make Google Maps payable. Does that mean that you then stop navigating? And I think this is a failure not only of society, but actually of schooling, of education. We aren't taught how to read maps. We aren't taught how to use maps. We aren't taught how to understand maps. I know people who can't understand or read the tube map, living in London their whole lives. That is poor. That is not good. And it is not their fault. It is the fault of the education system. Cartography is one of the most interesting things that you can teach someone, because when they're in the shit and they need to get out of the shit, Google Maps is not going to help you. In some areas of the world, GPS doesn't exist. GPS is blocked. Google Maps is blocked. A lot of apps like Waze and Apple Maps, they're blocked. You can't use it. In the woods, GPS is very weak. If we can't use our bearings, if we can't use north, if we can't use a basic knowledge and idea of our environment, we have failed as a society in the world of navigation and making sure that people understand where they are. We live in places, we live in towns, we live in neighborhoods. Being accustomed to those neighborhoods is fine, but not being accustomed to where you might need to go in the future, for me, I think is a failing of the education system. Some people only know South London. Some people only know East London because that's all they're accustomed to. But if you were to tell them to go to West London, it's like they're going to a different country. That for me is foreign. And maybe I'm privileged. Maybe I just have a gift that allows me to understand maps in a certain way. And I understand that I do understand maps in a different way to other people, and I'm able to visualize maps in a different way. But there is a way to teach people how to learn. People on the knowledge, taxi drivers, know the map because they learnt it. They took the time to learn it, and they took the time to understand their environment. Having no backup, having no skill to back yourself up with when Google Maps fails and you're lost. That for me, I think, is really sad. So while it's not Google Maps I have a beef with personally, it's what it does to society. And again, in the grand scheme of things, is what I'm saying that deep? No. But I do think there is something to be said about how reliant we are on things that we should really put reliance on. Google Maps should be there to help you, not do it for you. And I think the moment we give up our own learning capabilities, our own intelligence to the power of an app on your phone, I think that's when society starts to degrade. That was probably a lot of waffle for a lot of you, probably looking at me like I'm a crazy man. But I'll be real, it's something I've thought about for a long time. It's a stupid pet peeve to have. I understand why people get their phones out, and I understand why people use Google Maps or whatever map you use. It's not a critique of the people. It's a critique of society. It's how did we get here? And I don't think I'm wrong, but again, this is all a discussion. I'm using this mic because I realised that I've got a DJI mic, so I can actually use a mic. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just a bunch of waffle, wasn't it? Come back next time for more waffle. Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye. See ya. You're still here. I need to stop doing this.